Okay. Hi. Hi, guys. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Let's make sure you can hear me. Awesome. Come on in. Welcome to the Instagram Live. So excited to have you all. We've got some people jumping on, so we'll wait for a few minutes and we'll get into it. Excited to have you all here. Welcome, welcome. We're going to wait for a few minutes, let some more people hop on here, and then we're going to get started. Excited to have all of you. Welcome. Just acknowledging people as they hop on. I see a few of our scholars here, so that's exciting. Nice. See a few of our LA Care partners and our LA Care family. Welcome, guys. Excited. Be sure if you have any questions for our scholars, please place them there's a question box that you can select, and you can actually put a question in there for scholars. If we have time to answer those questions, we will happily get to them. So if you have any questions, please place them in the question queue. So we'll wait about one more minute and then we will get started. Welcome to those that are just joining us. Again, if you have questions for the scholars, if we can get to that in time, we would love for you to ask them questions, put them in the box for us, and if we can get to it, we love to do that. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. All right, it's 1:02, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Instagram Live. I am your host, Mariah Walton, and I am so excited and so honored to be able to interview two of our scholars today, our scholarship recipients of the LA Care Safety Net Initiative and scholarship program. And so I have amazing guests today. If you have not heard about our Safety Net Initiative, in 2018, LA Care launched this program. It is a 5-year, $155 million commitment in order to find and recruit highly qualified primary care physicians to enter into LA County's safety net. And, you know, our safety net, it will offer programs and offer services to anybody, regardless of their ability to pay. And many of them work in communities of color. And so without further ado, I will love to introduce our first guest. I'm going to try to hop on here with Bryce Bentley. If you can go ahead and request, that'd be great. And so Bryce Bentley will be attending the Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. He's born and raised in South LA. He has an array of different experiences throughout his lifetime, one of which being an external director of UCLA Black Health Project, which is super awesome. He's volunteered a few years with Saving Hearts Foundation, and he's currently a caregiver with the National Health Foundation. So go ahead and get Bryce in here. Awesome to have you, Bryce. Waiting on him to respond here. Awesome. Hi, Bryce. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing pretty well. How's everybody in the chat?
I am awesome. I hope our viewers are awesome. I just watched your unboxing video of your stethoscope, of your messenger bag, and your white coat. So that was so awesome. I loved it. Were you expecting that?
No, I noticed it was a really large package, so I assumed it would be more than the white coat, but I was definitely impressed by what they gave me, and you should have seen the faces that my parents had as well. We were just blown away by LA Care's generosity.
Awesome, awesome. So glad you received that. Let's hop into today. I have a few questions for you. If we have time, we can take some questions from those that are in our audience that are watching. And so the first question I want to ask you is, what was your initial reaction to you hearing that you had received the LA Care Elevating the Safety Net Scholarship Award this year?
Ooh. So it still feels unbelievable to me. Like, I think it was always a dream to be able to go to medical school and have it paid in full. So when I got the call and was told about it, I was just like, it just took a while to sink in. Like, really, are you calling the right? Is there more than one Bryce Bentley? From Charles Drew, and so it was just this wave of disbelief.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
really like settle in until I got the email. And so I didn't tell my parents until I got the email because I wanted something, settled to get them all the information and everything. And I intentionally waited for my dad's birthday. And so we
Oh,
were just in the living room. Yeah, I wanted it to be a nice surprise. So we're chilling in the living room and I just emailed my dad saying like, oh yeah, I'm applying for the scholarship. I want you to take a look at it. And so then he's just going on there. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. He's like, wait, what? What? And then he just like stands up and then he's like shouts at the news. And then we're all just like standing up and yelling and everything like that. So it was really,
wow.
that's when it sort of like sunk in like, yes, you've been given this opportunity and that there are people that are invested in, my own growth and my ability to go through this journey in a convenient and healthy manner.
Absolutely. I love that. And to surprise him on his birthday. So tell us, what does this full ride scholarship mean for you and your family? What type of help would the scholarship actually provide for you all?
It's an incredible achievement, not only for me, but also for my family and for the community that I came from. Growing up, I've always had mentors within my church, within my schools, my teachers, my coworkers, my peers, my friends. And this is sort of like a testament to all the things that they've done for me, instilling the idea that service is at the most importance. And that whatever you do, whether it would have been like medicine or working in other fields, that to always give it your best and do it for the people that are involved. And so, and especially for my family, I'm one of four siblings, and we've all gone off and done our own thing, whether my brother in his business or my sister going to college and also being a track athlete, and my sister and oldest sister raising her family and working in a bank and doing all sorts of things.
Nice.
And so I just wanted to shout out my parents that they've done a great job in raising us and instilling us values of hard work. And so
Absolutely.
this sort of I like to think of it as they're the ones who earned the scholarship because it's through their instilling of the values that I get here.
That's incredible. I love that you attribute your this huge milestone, I guess, to your parents and those that have been a part of raising you and essentially mentoring you into the man that you are today. So I think that's extremely incredible. Kudos to that village that played a huge part into this moment. So I just want to ask you, what event or events, maybe there's more than one, that led you into medicine as a career?
Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't attribute it to one particular thing. I think growing up, a lot of my family members have suffered through various health issues, particularly cardiovascular diseases or certain afflictions. And so that's sort of when it started popping in my head about, oh, we got to watch our health, especially as we get older. And it wasn't until my grandmother died where she was in the hospital for several days. And that sort of made me realize like what goes into being in the medical field, the workers who are caring not only towards the patients but towards the family as well, and sort of what the family's feelings during that instance. And so medicine is just not like a scientific like, oh yeah, you tested positive for these things, or oh, you fulfill these categories. It's about the human aspect and looking more into what their overall situation is. And so once I realized that, there's both a social component towards it, and you can connect on a personal level. I knew, and I also love science growing up, so I knew like, yes, this is something that I want to look more into, and then the journey just takes off from there.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And so what are you expecting, during this era of COVID-19? There's probably going to be a lot of virtual classes. So what are you expecting during this season as you enter into medical school in your first year?
I think that it's going to require a lot of flexibility.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome.
Going from, so I took a 1 year, a gap year, like my peers like to call it, an enrichment year to build ourselves and our characteristics.
Nice.
But I feel that going from being in class, attending lecture, and then going towards being online and not being able to see all my peers present and having that feeling of walking into a large classroom and being
Yeah.
centered around like the atmosphere, I think it's just going to take a lot of adjustment and going to try and experiment on what works best for me as well as my peers.
Yeah.
But I do think it will be it's a really great way to connect with technology in a way, since the era of COVID has definitely proves that technology needs to be looked upon and viewed as important, because this is the way that doctors are interacting with patients. And if we become comfortable with that sort of technology, who knows how it's going to be in the future. So
Yeah.
it's a necessary thing that has to happen, going through online. But I'm excited for it. I think we'll be able to manage.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point, because right now, during this season of the pandemic that we're in, technology has played a huge role. I mean, even for us to have this platform to communicate with each other and to, allow, each other to really kind of share information through these platforms are incredible. And so I definitely feel like technology is going to play a huge role. And I know while you're in medical school, you'll be using lots of it. I'm
Yeah.
sure talking about telehealth and what that looks like for you all post COVID. And so I think that's awesome that you have a good perspective and you're open to it and you're excited about, the technology piece of that for, virtual classes. So next question, you have an array of experiences. Reading your bio, I was blown away. I just am curious to know, out of all of your healthcare experiences, which one are you most proud of?
Oh, yeah. It's a very good question. It's definitely it's really hard for me to pick, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And if I
Yeah.
was to quickly share my experiences, what would I talk about? And I would say one of the experiences I'm most proud of is the working in the Black Health Project at UCLA, or previously known as Black Hypertension Project. And it was really personal, because we went out into the community, and not just like any community. We went back to the community where I grew up in, the Crenshaw, Lamar Park area. And so we were doing health presentations, health fairs at churches, at different areas and parks, and just being able to interact with the residents and convey different informations about hypertension and dangers of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and various other things. So that in particular gave me a personal connection. I was able to even present or organize a little health gathering, a health fair at my church, Phillips Temple CME Church. And so that sort of let me connect with my own like community members and be able to give back in a way that I wasn't able to before. And so that's sort of what I want to do when I am become a physician, is to be able to work in my community and in different communities, but particularly to serve those who have been in similar situations as myself, and one that we can both relate to and have that personal connection.
Got it, got it, got it. That's awesome. I know we do have a few questions from the viewers here, so I'm gonna pop up a few of them. Some of them are very similar to what I was gonna ask you. So there's one there. Who inspires you? Let us know who has inspired you throughout your life.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think so. As mentioned, that how the whole community that I've been in has inspired me, but to give a particular one, I would say my parents have been one of the most inspirational figures in my life, just because all that they've done for us, and you know, growing up and raising like so many children, it's definitely hard, and they've done many different things to support us, whether it's going to sporting events, making sure that we have all the things we need, supplies, getting a proper education, and just being really patient when, you know, maybe we've caused a little bit of trouble or we weren't able to uh, exceed our expectations that we were given. But they were always patient, they were always kind, and they always did their best to instill good values. And another person that inspires me, I don't mean to go too long on this question, is one of my mentors and one of my professors, Dr. Charles Alexander at UCLA. He sort of opened up the conversation and the idea about health disparities that exist in our communities, in different communities across the country and even the world. And so he's had so many connections, and he's had us meet with so many people to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And he's also such a really positive person that's really wholesome and willing to, you know, go an extra mile to check on his mentees. And
Yeah.
so he's definitely inspired me to want to be a figure, that kind of figure for someone else later down the line.
Absolutely. And I think you'll be a great mentor to so many that are coming behind you. You mentioned something in there that your professor kind of exposed you to or kind of talked a lot about, which is health disparities. And again, we're in this season where, you know, a lot of unknowns are happening right now. I'm just curious to know, what role do you think the medical field should play in terms of reducing health disparities, but also recognizing social justice as a public health concern?
Yeah. So I would say that medicine should be at the forefront in terms of social justice and health disparities. Because one thing about the medical field is that we're all about the health of our patients and ensuring their own wellness.
Mm-hmm.
But social justice is practically that, it's just building the the quality of life of the people who are involved. And so, you know, we can't just stop at, okay, here's prescription, you have these diseases. We got to go beyond that. We got to be able to prevent these certain issues from happening. And
Yeah.
not only making sure that their like quality of life, their living situation is in a way that will be able to make them live their healthiest lives. So if we don't tackle issues like racism, problems with immigration, if we don't tackle sexism and various other issues, people's quality of life are just going to go down just because of that. And
Yeah.
you know, if we focus on medicine, just like, okay, maybe you should try not to be so stressed, but how can we not be stressed with so many issues going on? And so I definitely think that social justice should be a priority if we really want to impact the health of our communities.
That's awesome. They're all connected, you know, and I think at the faster we realize how interconnected things are, the more, you know, solutions that we can have to kind of solve those things. You know, as you enter into your medical school career, I'm curious to know what you're hoping to accomplish, you know, throughout your medical career.
Okay. Yeah, I've also been thinking that, especially since I'm about to enter my first year. And so one of the programs I'm in is also in the Prime program, Prime LA at UCLA and Charles Drew. And so what it sort of focuses on is addressing these health disparities and going into like different avenues of education to be able to build up skills and leadership opportunities so that you will be able to impact the community. So one of the goals I have is to earn a master's in public health
Mm.
and sort of consider like what kind of community programs can I be a part of, what community programs can may start in order to address issues that I feel is important or personal to me. So two issues that are particularly personal to me are cardiovascular diseases. This is especially prevalent in minority communities, particularly Black communities. And so have faced that in a lot of my community and my family. And so I definitely want to address those issues and see how can we improve the health of that overall, especially as uh, quality of life overall increases. Heart disease still is like rated number one or one of the highest causes of death.
Yep,
And
yep.
another one is the issue of homelessness. As many people may know, LA has had a problem with addressing homelessness or people experiencing homelessness. And so I worked at the National Health Foundation, which houses individuals experiencing homelessness but also have health issues. And I worked as a caregiver. I got to clean, to talk with them, to cook with them, and to get to know their story. And I think that one thing people tend to ignore is they think as one idea of what homelessness looks like, but they don't
Mm,
know sort of what their struggles are, that they're all individual people
that's
with
awesome.
goals,
Yeah,
dreams, and different other things. And so making sure that they can have a quality of life, high quality of life, and to be able to ensure that there's an option for them to be healthy and be in the right mindset overall. So that's definitely something. Those two issues are definitely personal for me.
absolutely. And um, they're very necessary issues to tackle. And I love that you have a heart for both of those populations. And I love that, you're already thinking, ahead, right? And what you
Yeah.
want to accomplish in your medical career because it's so needed right now, especially when you bring up homelessness. We see that increase and post COVID, we're going to see some different things as well. And so it's awesome that, you're getting in that pipeline and getting ready to go. So I love to hear that. We're going to take one more question from the audience here. I'll pin it here. It says, when did you first know you wanted to become a physician?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. So I first known that I wanted to become a physician was sort of around like after the time of when my grandmother passed away, and after being in the hospital and seeing, what the healthcare workers were doing, and sort of the impact, talking with the family, allowing them to be able to grieve when it happened, and just being really patient and kind with us. It sort of introduced the social aspect of medicine, in that it's not just seeing patients, taking these tests, and asking these questions, but going further and building that personal connections, making sure that even if they're not your patients, even if it's just the family of them, you can still be that human figure, and just you know ensure that they're comfortable as well, or do the best that you can, and address any other issues that are going on. And so, of course, there's like different roles in the healthcare fields, but I wanted to sort of have that interaction where I'm able to learn about the symptoms and the conditions, and to be able to do my best to address their issues as well.
Awesome, awesome. That's incredible, incredible. I know you're going to do some major things in the medical industry. Man, I'm excited for just hearing, after your 4 years, what you plan to do. So that's awesome. I'm going to ask you one more question because we're running out of time here. And so,
Okay.
if you can give advice, what would you give to someone who might want to pursue a medical career or a medical degree?
Okay. Hmm. I think one way
Yeah.
the journey, and I think one thing to think about is to never forget about your purpose of why you're going into medicine, or even thinking about medicine. A noble purpose about the community, or maybe in health, in that setting. Just never forget that sort of passion. And family. They have a whole life that you haven't been able to see, and always take that into consideration. What their lived experiences could be, current situation, their ideas, their values, and to always just take that in, not only um, have that while you're treating your patient, but also while you're like considering what to recommend for them or what to look into, whether
Yeah.
it's addressing social issues and just thinking about medicine in a holistic sense.
Got it. Got it. That's so awesome. Well, Bryce, it has been great interviewing you. Like I said, I know you're going to do some amazing things. This is just yet another milestone that you've accomplished. You already got a lot of great experience under your tool belt, if you will. And so excited to see what you do in the world of healthcare. And I know Charles Drew University is excited to have you on board, a student that, can represent them well. And I know the community that you will serve are going to be happy and proud to have you. So thank you so much for joining us. Super excited for you. And again, congratulations on your scholarship.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to talk about my story. And yeah, I'm excited for everything that's happening next. And also a special thank you to LA Care for allowing this opportunity. I appreciate it so much, and my family as well.
And your family. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Bye, Bryce.
All right, bye.
All righty. So awesome. That was great. I definitely enjoyed hearing from Bryce. He has a great experience. Definitely love his responses. And so I'm super excited for our next guest who will is coming from us from the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA. Her name is Precious Moment, and she is a native of LA, and so she definitely loves to give back to her community. She also used to be the president of Flying Samaritans, which she might talk a little bit about today. She also has served in many other roles within healthcare. So again, just like Bryce, I know that Precious is going to add so much value to not only the medical schools that they're attending, but also to the healthcare industry. So if we can all welcome in Precious for us. Precious, I'm going to connect with you here. All righty. Hi, Precious. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Welcome, 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 and congratulations on receiving your scholarship. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be here and share my story with everybody.
Absolutely. I also watched your unboxing, and I was just so like, my heart dropped for them because I'm like, this is so amazing. Did you cry?
I there's been a lot of tears during this application year, so
Yeah,
I didn't cry in that moment. It was more of excitement,
yeah.
just because it spoke to the other LA Care scholars, and they all were hyping it up, saying, "Oh my gosh, the box!" But they wouldn't tell me what was inside, so I was just really excited to open
Nice,
mine.
nice. Building that anticipation. No, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I loved it. So I imagine that you're probably going through a lot of emotions, trying to understand like this is real, So I'm just going to ask you a few questions as well.
Sure.
If our audience has questions, please drop them in the question queue. If we have time to answer them, I would love to present them to Precious so that she can answer them. So let's just kind of get started. I want to know what your initial reaction was to hearing that you were a scholarship recipient of LA Care's Elevating the Safety Net Scholarship.
Yeah, so I found out when I was at work, and I had gotten a call in the room with all the doctors I was working with, the residents, and I think they had just found out I had gotten into UCLA's Prime Leadership and Advocacy program. So that was already high emotions from that, and then I get this call, and everyone crowds around me, and I'm excited, and they're excited, and I'm barely understanding what's happening. But
Yeah.
I just was so honored to receive the scholarship, to have this financial support, but also to be a part of an organization who's committed to giving back to the communities I come from, and being recognized that I could be also beneficial in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And what was your family's first reaction to it?
Yeah, so so they were they were also kind of still living off the high of me getting into medical school. But when they heard about the scholarship, they were like, "Oh my gosh, Precious, really? Like everything you said you wanted to do, you did." And then I think just having to really explain to them what this is that I'm doing, and them telling everybody, me getting messages from everybody, my cousins, seeing posts about me on my grandmother's Facebook. So
Oh,
I felt like they were celebrating an accomplishment for themselves too, and I was so proud, like looking at them being proud of me. So it was a lot of happiness going around.
absolutely. I love that you were just surrounded around love and, congratulatory, feelings. That's awesome. And definitely makes you probably feel, amazing about this milestone that you've achieved, not only for yourself, but like Bryce shared, it's for the family, it's for the
Mhm.
kids you serve and you hope to serve in the future. So I think that's incredible. So again, with the experiences that you have, you also had a very incredible, impressive bio. And so what's the accomplishment that you have done that you're most proud of?
Yeah, so for me, it was definitely, like you mentioned, the Flying Samaritans. I joined that halfway through college. I had other leadership positions, um, like in the Black Student Science Organization, and I think those were in my comfort zone. They were with people who came from the communities I came from, and I took a step forward and I joined the Flying Samaritans, which is a student-run organization where we run clinics, monthly clinics in Mexico. So I had never left the country before, and that was pretty exciting for me. And seeing a different community, seeing different health disparities in a different view, and knowing that just because, I came from one community that was underserved doesn't mean I understand how to be an advocate for all communities. And I
Yeah.
learned that during that leadership position, and learned like basically where I could grow as a future physician and how to rely on my colleagues to build me to be a better advocate for their community. So that was definitely my growing leadership role.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's awesome that you had the experience to kind of learn what healthcare looked like in a totally different country, not a state or a city over, but another country and how they do it, and honestly being able to connect with a totally different type of people, different language, different culture. So that's awesome that you had that experience, and I'm sure you're going to bring that into your experience here as you continue to serve the community and go on in your medical journey. So, quick question, another question we got for you. So, why do you want to work in underserved communities? What is it
Yeah.
about that
So
your heart?
yeah, for me, it really is. I've had a lot of people from those communities, my community, invest in me, who have influenced me and supported me because they are hoping for me to come back and be of help to them and lead them to get where I'm going to go. So I think like just kind of like paying it forward and reaching back and helping others who come from my community. And also just because I just want to make sure that I can extend the same type of care that I would hope for my brothers, my aunt, my grandma. And I know that I'm not alone in that. There are people who are looking for physicians, the physician I hope to become. And I just want to be in those spaces and educating my peers and as they learn how to be better physicians and care providers for underserved communities.
That's awesome. I think it is very powerful and very impactful to see someone that is in such a prized role, if you will, as a medical professional that looks like you, especially in the community that you live in, that you work in. And so I love that you hold that close to your heart and see it as a responsibility and also as an example to set for the generation that comes behind you. So, what would you tell your younger self? What type of advice would you give your younger self for pursuing the medical career?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think, and I was reflecting on this in the past week, a lot of the hurdles and obstacles I've had to overcome and some of the mistakes I've made have been from comparing myself to other people and trying to look at other people's timeline for my own timeline, and it kind of distracts me from my own goals and my own agenda. And I think just like telling my younger self, like, stay true to who you are. No, just remember like where you come from, what motivates you, and don't divert from that path, because we all have our own individual paths, and just to trust yourself. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to ask you a question actually from the audience here. I've got a few. Let's see. Um, let's ask this one here. Which communities would you like to be your focal point?
yeah, that's a great question too. So, being able to go to the UCLA David Geffen School of Medicine and also be a part of the Prime Leadership and Advocacy program that has allows me to actually be a part of the Charles R. Drew University. So having all of these different titles and all of these different programs who are going to educate me to be a physician for the community that I came from, so South Los Angeles, is really where I'm hoping to be my first starting point. So I'm hoping to learn about the communities I come from a different vantage point as a healthcare provider. And I think along the interview trail, I stepped out of my comfort zone some more, and I went to the East Coast, and I was able to go to New Jersey and see Newark, New Jersey, and see that, wow, like there are so many communities in this country who are just like South Los Angeles, just like where I come from, who also need my help and also need me to be there and be of service to them. So I think my starting point would be the community I came from, just because this is where I'm going to school and this is the environment I'm learning in. But I also want to be a physician who, some point in my career, steps outside of my community, is able to impact others. So.
Yes, I've gotten some great comments in the box here. They say, yes, we need you in South LA. Awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah, I definitely think, starting where you know and where you are, learning, is always a good focal point to start with. So I love that you are wanting to be committed to that and serving that population. So given, everything that you have accomplished, what do you expect to accomplish as a medical professional?
Yeah, this great question. I've been reflecting on this all throughout my pre-matriculation program. Like, what do I want to do? Like, what exactly is it I want to do? And I I'm still at a point where I'm have this passion to address cancer health disparities, and that has been always on my heart and on my mind, just from some of the people, my friends, my family members who have passed away from cancer, who are struggling, and who are walking that path with their own family members who are struggling from cancer, and seeing the statistics and seeing that as a Black woman, even though I am so privileged to have the opportunity to become a physician and all of the other additional privileges that come with that, that I'm still at risk for these diseases, from diabetes, from heart disease to cancer morbidities. And that kind of scares me, and that makes me want to be able to address those things. And I think that's where my main focus is. But I also just want to be a leader in a general sense. I
Yeah.
don't just be confined to the examination room. I want to be in the community. I want to be able to, for people to look at me and say that they can rely on me, that they're comfortable seeing me, that I'm a resource that they can use in becoming their most healthy version of themselves. So, yeah.
I can see and feel your heart and your passion. It is so incredible. I can drop a tear right now, but I'm gonna save that for after the Instagram. I feel your heart, like just through your responses, just through
Thank you.
your people need that. People are going to need that at their bedside. People are going to need that while you're out in the community, serving. And so I think it's so critical right now that, we have people that are like you, that have the heart, that have the passion, and actually, have the skills to do the job. So I'm excited for you as well, man.
Thank
These
you.
guys are incredible. I just love it. I just love it. That was kind of a tangent, but
No,
um,
hey, I
I
love the support. I
I
love
love
speaking to you.
I love the heart. So, can you tell us what you're expecting during this era of COVID? What medical school will be like? The virtual classes. Are you excited about it? Are you kind of hesitant about it? What does it look like for you?
I think I don't know exactly what to expect, but I'm always excited no matter what is at the end of the tunnel. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be an LA Care Scholar, to be here home in LA and learning medicine. So I'm not too worried about it being virtual. I know it's going to call for me to adapt to it, to me to be more supportive of my classmates and understanding of the struggles that they're going to be having learning remotely. And I'm energized to meet that challenge. I foresee it being the same result. I still need to do what I need to do to get where I need to be.
Absolutely.
And even though it's virtual, the goal is still there. My responsibilities are still there, and I need to live up to what I say I'm going to do.
Outcome focused. I love that. This process might look like. I love, love, love that. So, you know, outside of just really understanding this season that we're in, I'm going to ask you the same health disparity question. And in terms of what role do you think the medical field should play in not only reducing health disparities, but also recognizing social justice as a public health concern?
Yeah, I think medicine for the longest time, since it has been in existence, has focused on the biological processes that contribute to illnesses. And I think that the focus needs to shift to what are the social determinants of health that affect patients, because if we continue to focus on those biological processes, we're not going to ever address the health disparities that are continuing to grow. So there's something deeper and underneath that, under the medicine that we learn in the textbooks, that calls for us to be more social and change our worldview and understand where people come from. And I think that our public health workers, our social workers, all these people are finding those answers. They see the problems. They're having deep conversations with people
Yeah.
who are struggling with illnesses, and we need to amplify their voices, hear them out, and learn. Not just do that, but like take what they say and change how we think about treating people.
Good. Good.
That would be, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I think it is at this point, changing the way we look at things, the way we approach. I know as a health plan, talking about social determinants of health and really just honing into, how do we really take approaches that are more preventative versus, kind of reactive. And so I love that you have that perspective and you believe that, the medical field can really make a shift in the way that we approach different communities and different, diseases or situations that might happen medical wise that could really make some shifts in, for sure. No, I love that response. And so let's see if we've got some more questions here for you. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. We can answer the first part of this one, actually. It says, where were you when you first found out you got the scholarship? We already asked what your first reaction was, but where were you?
Yeah, so I have been spending the last year and a half working at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I was a care coordination assistant for the pediatric residents, and I was at work, and it was after we had already rounded and saw all the patients. So I had gotten a call from UCLA, and everyone stopped what they were doing and they crowded around me, all the doctors, the med students. And that was where I found out. It was like, I was listening, but I was also like all of their reactions and trying to relay what was happening. And it was a very exciting time. And they actually pulled me down from the floor, and we went to a noon conference where I saw all of the doctors I had worked with over the year and a half, and they all announced it in front of everybody. So it was a very exciting time.
Wow. Wow. So who's your inspiration, or what inspires you to be a part of the medical industry?
Yeah, my inspiration really comes from all the women who have contributed to who I am today. I've been raised by some strong Black women who have instilled in me the values that I have right now, to be resilient, to be persistent, and I have watched them overcome a lot of obstacles, and those are the people who really have inspired me to be the person I am today. So them, and I think my colleagues too. I have met so many wonderful people who, young people, and who are eager to do the things that I want to do and have different visions for how they're going to do it. And I'm just inspired by them. I'm like, that's a great way of thinking. I like that. And I can't wait to work with you in the future. And sometimes we'll just sit and we'll talk about our grand schemes, our grand plans for how we're going to address health disparities. So that inspires me too.
I love that, man. Well, again, just like Bryce, Precious, I believe you are going to do some amazing, amazing work. You are mighty, young lady.
Thank you.
Let me just say that.
Thank you.
Definitely can, like I said, feel your heart and just know you are passionate. And you know congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the scholars. I wish we can interview them all because I know you all have amazing stories. I've read all of your bios and they are great. But I definitely thank you for taking the time out to interview today and, just sharing your heart, sharing your story, sharing what you're excited about, and definitely looking forward to just hearing how your journey throughout medical school as well as your medical career kind of unfolds, because I know some great things are in store for both you and Bryce. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you have any last remarks, please share them.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to everyone from Ella Care Health Plan who supports this program, this initiative, and I'm excited to work with you all, my colleagues, Emily, Eric, Jamil, Sam, Bryce, Ope. Sorry, I'm giving all the shout outs, but I'm excited to work with every single one of them over this next 4-5 years. And then I am thankful for my friends, all the residents at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, my family, my mentors. I wouldn't be here without any of you, and I'm just grateful.
Yes, absolutely. Well, definitely thank you. You're getting a lot of congratulations through the chat here. But we appreciate you taking this time out of your day to come sit with us and chat with me. But congratulations to you. I know your family's proud. I know your friends are proud, and you're going to do great things.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariah.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. So that was incredible. Yet another scholar that, has an amazing story. Like I said, I wish we can interview all 8 of the scholars because I know they have done some incredible work. They've hit some amazing milestones through their life. And this is just one more, So I definitely want to thank Bryce and Precious for taking the time out to sit with us. Congratulations to all of the scholars. If you're in this chat, wave at me. I'm waving back. Congratulations to you all. And, thank you all, our viewers here, for tuning in. It was just a great time speaking with them. And until next time, we hope to hear more from our scholars. Have a great day.